If anybody know T.I., I know everybody at school or high school didn't like him. So I got a reward, man. If y'all send me the yearbook pictures or something that's showing where he from, man, I will pay y'all personally, man. You know? Say he got a phone conversation. If you tell it, we had a phone conversation, you need to tell me what the phone conversation was about. It was about you getting punched in the face at Club Pure of one of my goons, you know what I'm saying?
So he's causing friction with you. He's obviously calling you out. You know, he's obviously challenging the throne.
Yeah.
You know, which in my opinion is
if you could call it that.
Well, you know, you see it as competition. You don't take it personally.
I'm sorry.
The story of T.I. and Shawty Lo is one of those unforgettable chapters in Atlanta hip-hop that shows how quickly respect can flip into rivalry. At first, both were seen as hometown figures representing Bankhead, building their reputations in different ways. T.I. through his music, and Shawty Lo through his influence in the streets.
We won't know, man. How y'all seen T.I.? Is he from Bankhead?
Man, we ain't seen no when these bricks, man. For real, man. We already know who you be, Shawty Lo, baby, man. Why you say you pull up in that Bankhead? They already know, man. They already know who you.
What makes this beef stand out is that it did not remain confined to the booth with just a few diss tracks. It spilled into interviews, live performances, award shows, and even caused chaos in the streets. To understand how it reached that point, you have to rewind to the early days, before the tension ever boiled over.
I don't hate Tip, you know what I'm saying? He's a great rapper. I'm from the streets for real. That's what I do for real. I'm on Bankhead for real. 2016. He's talking about y'all come and do something. Where we at right now?
Back when T.I. was still grinding for a spot in the rap game, he was not the superstar the world knows today. By the time he dropped his first video, I'm Serious, in 2001, he was just another hungry rapper trying to break through.
No, you were saying T.I. was a rat.
Well, yeah. Man, everybody knows. Everybody know, homie.
A lot of the flashy cars shown in that video were not even his. They belonged to Shawty Lo, who was already well known in Atlanta streets. That detail shows how close they once were, because Shawty even appeared in the video himself, casually walking through a scene. Back then, everything looked solid between them. T.I. respected Shawty's position, and Shawty respected the young rapper chasing his dream.
I know it's a lot of times, you know, you find yourself in positions around people who don't like you, but most of the time that's just because they don't like their damn self, you know?
But as T.I. climbed higher in the rap world and Shawty Lo started transitioning into music, that balance of respect began to shift, and not in a good way. When Shawty branched out from his group D4L to pursue a solo career, he thought a collaboration with T.I. made sense. After all, he had looked out for Tip back in the day. Now, with T.I. a Grammy-winning superstar at the top of the South, the timing felt right. But when Shawty reached out, T.I. turned him down, saying he was not feeling the song.
News: an exit ramp on I-285 is back open after a deadly crash in South Fulton County. We're learning more this morning about the man killed in the wreck, local rapper Shawty Lo.
By this point, Atlanta was buzzing with the feud. Fans were taking sides. The media was eating it up, and every diss track or interview kept making the tension worse. Ty eventually clapped back with his own disc, What's Up? What's Happening? Where he went straight at Shawty Lo, filming the music video right in Bowen Homes, a neighborhood tied to Shawty himself. That move was bold. Ty was basically planting a flag in Shawty's territory, showing he wasn't scared to face him in his own backyard. In the song, he mocked Shawty's whole act, calling him desperate for driving around Bankhead asking about him. He doubled down on his status as the real king of Atlanta, rapping that the street still respected him, no matter what rumors got thrown his way. The beef had gone from subliminal shots to direct hits, and there was no turning back. By late 2008, the feud between T and Shawty Lo had become one of the hottest topics in Atlanta hip-hop, and the streets were watching closely to see what would happen next. Both rappers had thrown heavy shots at each other, and instead of cooling off, the energy was only getting more explosive. Things hit a boiling point at the Dirty Awards in Atlanta that November, a night that went down in history for all the wrong reasons. Both Ty and Shawty Lo showed up with their entourages deep, and you could feel the tension in the room before the show even got started. People knew there was a chance something could go left, and that's exactly what happened. At first, things were tense but under control. Shawty Lo hit the stage to perform, and instead of playing it safe, he doubled down on the drama by performing his diss track Done. That was like striking a match in a room full of gasoline. Members of T.I.'s camp weren't having it, and reports say they started tossing chairs onto the stage while Shawty was still performing. Security had to rush in and shut the show down temporarily, just to keep it from turning into a full-on riot right then and there. But even during that short break, the tension didn't ease up. Word is Ty and Shawty actually crossed paths backstage, and for a moment, it looked like they were willing to squash things. They apparently exchanged words and even shook hands in front of witnesses. But if there was any peace made behind the scenes, it didn't last more than a few minutes. When the show picked back up and Ty hit the stage, he couldn't resist throwing shade right back at Shawty Lo in front of the entire crowd. That was the final straw. Both sides had already been itching for a fight, and this was the spark that lit the powder cake. Suddenly, the whole award show erupted into chaos. A massive brawl between T.I.'s crew and Shawty Lo's crew right in front of everyone. Punches were flying, chairs were being tossed, and the whole scene turned into a madhouse. The cops had to step in, and they didn't hold back, even using pepper spray to break up the madness. In the middle of it all, Shawty Lo himself got hit with a face full of spray. The chaos was so wild that the Dirty Awards went down in history as one of the craziest moments in hip-hop beef culture. After that night, the feud was no longer just about words or records. It was the talk of the entire rap industry. Every media outlet, every blog, and every fan had an opinion on it. Shawty Lo kept the pressure on, mocking T.I. in interviews, and even spreading rumors that Tip had gotten punched in the face during the fight. For a while, it looked like the two rappers would never see eye to eye. Fans were expecting more diss tracks, more interviews, maybe even more street fights. The whole situation had become bigger than just music. It was a matter of pride, reputation, and legacy. But then something surprising happened. After months of back and forth, both men decided it wasn't worth dragging the feud out forever. Atlanta was watching them closely, and the city didn't need two of its biggest names tearing each other down. So, in a move that nobody expected, T and Shawty officially squashed the beef. To prove it was real, they even hit the stage together for a performance at T.I.'s club in Atlanta. That moment sent shockwaves through the culture after all the insults, diss tracks, and chaos. Seeing them side by side showed that hip-hop beefs don't always have to end in tragedy. For Atlanta, it was a powerful moment of unity. Two figures who had once been at war now standing together. From there, both men went on to build their legacies in different ways. Ty continued climbing higher as one of the South's most important rappers, solidifying his status as the king of the South with hits, albums, and mainstream respect. Shawty Lo might not have reached the same commercial success, but he stayed a respected figure in Atlanta, someone who had made his mark through his group D4L, his solo work, and his unforgettable presence in the city. For years, the beef became more of a memory, a crazy story fans would bring up when talking about classic Atlanta rap drama. But even when the dust settled, the tension and chaos they created together became part of their legacies. Unfortunately, Shawty Lo's story didn't end with peace and music. On September 21st, 2016, Atlanta was rocked by devastating news. Shawty Lo had passed away in a tragic car crash. That night had started like any other. He was at the Blue Flame Lounge, a well-known strip club in the city, hanging out with his crew, having fun and living life. After leaving the club around 2 in the morning, Shawty drove off in his Audi A7 with two women in the car. According to reports, he was speeding down the highway, and the women even asked him to slow down. Sadly, he didn't take their warning seriously. In an instant, things went horribly wrong. Shawty lost control of the car, which flew over a guardrail and smashed into two trees. The crash was brutal, and because Shawty Lo wasn't wearing a seatbelt, he was thrown from the vehicle. By the time paramedics arrived on the scene, it was already too late. He was gone. The two women in the car survived, but what happened next sparked even more controversy. Reports say they took all the money Shawty had on him before leaving the scene. A detail that left fans furious and confused. It was a bizarre and heartbreaking twist that only added more questions to the tragedy. The eerie part of it all is that Shawty Lo had just lost his father the week before the crash. He had even recorded a tribute track called "Letter to My Father" to honor him, and then suddenly he was gone too. That timing led many fans to speculate about deeper, darker theories, with some believing the crash wasn't as simple as it seemed. But at the end of the day, there was no solid evidence of foul play. The truth looked like Shawty Lo was just driving too fast without a seatbelt and paid the ultimate price. Still, For Atlanta and the hip-hop community, the loss was devastating. When the news of Shawty Lo's passing broke, Atlanta was in shock. The city had lost more than just a rapper. It lost a cultural figure who carried a unique piece of the Bankhead identity. Shawty wasn't just known for his music. He was known for being real, for holding down his community, and for sparking one of the wildest feuds hip-hop had ever seen. The tribute started pouring in almost instantly. T.I., despite everything they had been through, was one of the first to honor him. He took to Instagram, posting a heartfelt message that showed how much respect he had for Shawty. Ty called him a pioneer, a legend, and someone who had a lasting impact on Atlanta's music scene. For anyone who remembered their beef, this moment was proof that no matter how messy things got in the past, the respect never truly disappeared. Other artists came forward too. Metro Booming shared a studio picture of himself with Shoddy Future and Young Scooter, writing, "Long live the king, a Bankhead." Future himself paid tribute, reminding everyone that legends never die, and that Shawty Lo's name would always carry weight in the city. Lil Yachty joined in by sharing an old interview clip of Shawty Lo and showing his love on Twitter. Even Gucci Mane, a longtime friend of Shay's, reacted to the heartbreaking news by posting, "Damn it, man. R.I.P. Shawty Lo." The entire Atlanta rap scene stood still, united in grief and respect. For younger artists coming up, it was a reminder of just how much Shawty Lo and D4L paved the way for them. Without that wave, Atlanta's rap sound might not have blown up the way it did in the mid-2000s. The impact of Shawty Lo and D4L is often underestimated. People forget how big their influence was. Their breakout hit Laffy Taffy wasn't just a viral dance anthem. It was a cultural moment that shifted the sound of Southern rap. Shawty Lo helped build that lane and kept pushing, making sure Bankhead had a voice in the rap industry, even if some critics didn't take D4L seriously back then. Their style inspired countless rappers who came after them. And Shawty's solo career showed that he wasn't just about the dance records. He had real street records, he had presence, and he had respect in the neighborhoods that mattered most. That's why his feud with T.I. hit so hard. It wasn't just two rappers dissing each other, it was two different sides of Atlanta clashing. Two visions of what being real meant in hip-hop. Looking back, what made their beef so explosive was how personal it felt. This wasn't just about rap competition. It was about authenticity, history, and pride. Shawty Lo calling out T's Bankhead roots struck a nerve because street credibility is everything in Atlanta. Ty responding with diss tracks and videos filmed in Shawty's own territory only turned the heat up higher. The Dirty Awards brawl took it to another level, making headlines nationwide. And yet, despite all of that chaos, they eventually found a way to squash it. That's what makes their story so unique. It didn't end with permanent bad blood. Instead, it ended with a handshake, a performance together, and ultimately Ty being one of the first people to give Shawty Lo his flowers when he passed. That's rare in hip-hop history. Shawty Lo's death left a hole in Atlanta's rap scene, but his influence still lives on. His phrase "must be two sides" became more than just a disc lyric. It turned into a cultural saying in Atlanta, used by fans and artists alike. His contributions through D4L and his solo work shaped the sound of the South in ways that are still felt today. Meanwhile, T.I. went on to keep his spot in the game, balancing music, acting, and business ventures. He's had his ups and downs, but his legacy as one of the greatest rappers out of Atlanta is set in stone. Together, their rivalry told a story about pride, betrayal, respect, and reconciliation. One of the realest stories Atlanta has ever seen. Today, fans still debate who came out on top in their feud. Some say Shawty Lo won the streets by questioning Tip's credibility. Others argue T.I. won musically, shutting down the rumors with hits and dominance in the industry. But at the end of the day, both men carved out legacies that Atlanta will never forget. Their story is a reminder that beefs in hip-hop can be dangerous, messy, and chaotic, but they can also lead to growth, understanding, and moments that bring people together. Shawty Lo may be gone, but his presence is still felt. And for T, the lessons from that chapter in his life remain a part of his story. The Ty and Shawty Lo saga is proof that hip-hop is more than just music. It's about identity, history, and legacy. It's about who you are, where you come from, and how you choose to defend your name when it's challenged. For Atlanta, it was a moment that showed the world the passion, the pride, and the unpredictability of the city's rap scene. And even though tragedy struck in the end, Shawty Lo's memory will always be tied to Bankhead, to Atlanta, and to the culture he helped build. His name is etched in hip-hop history right alongside T.I.'s, and their clash will forever be remembered as one of the most dramatic rivalries the game has ever seen. So, if you made it this far into the story, make sure you subscribe, share, like, and comment to keep these hip-hop stories alive and support the